I am a hard no on sleepovers, and I'll give you a bunch of reasons why, but first I want to tell you a story. I have a friend who took 3 of her children on a sleepover off at like a lake house kind of thing. It was a family get-together, and she knew that there were going to be other people there, and she specifically asked about her sister's boyfriend. Something in her heart just had a gut check about him and said, is he going to be there? And her parents were like, no, don't worry about it, he's not going to be there. So she trusted her parents and allowed her children to go with them to this lake house. Well, her sister and her boyfriend showed up, and unfortunately, my friend's worst fears were founded. She took this story and immediately went to her parents and said, this is the story he's telling me, to which her parents denied. She was like, I'm not asking for permission on whether or not this happened. I'm telling you this happened. Like, I believe my son. Like, I'm going to police. I'm just telling you I'm going to police. She ended up going to police, but because there was not enough evidence and there were no witnesses, no charges were pressed. The only thing that happened was a letter was put in this man's file, and the sister went on to marry him. And the family basically disowned my friend and all of her children, telling her that she divided the family because of these allegations. This entire story, including her son's trauma, could have been prevented with a simple, you know what, why don't I go up with the kids? Or, no, that's okay, they don't need to go this time. And here's the deal. It is unfortunate that we have to have that level of paranoia. However, most of these kinds of cases happen with people that we know and trust. And then the wild card enters, and the wild card is what creates trauma in your child's life. So the question is it worth it? Is the benefit of them doing something like a sleepover actually worth it? Because in my opinion, the only thing that you're missing out on by not sleeping over is being unconscious at somebody else's house. What we do in our family, or we call them half sleepovers, where basically you stay over until like 9 o'clock and then we go home. So you can watch movies, you can play games, you can do sleepover-y kind of things. Now, can bad things happen before 10 o'clock? Of course they can. All we're doing is mitigating risk. But we shouldn't live with the impractical goal of eliminating all risk. All we're doing is eliminating the risk that we can. Mitigating risk to the point we still give our children experiences, however, without putting them in potential of harm's way. Now, in my family, we do not do sleepovers until you can drive and have a car there, because if you have a car there, you can escape any potential hazardous situation. Plus, if you are trusted to drive a car, you are trusted to be able to keep yourself safe, and we give you the ability and the education to know how to do that. And there are people who are like, that's sheltering your kids, or that's being a helicopter parent, but I don't think it is. I'm not eliminating the experiences they can have during a sleepover, like going over and playing late at night and watching a movie, or playing like Manhunt outside. What I'm doing is giving them those experiences up until the point that I see that the cost benefit is not there. Now, does this mean that my kids are always happy with that choice? No, it does not. But as much as I favor my children's input when it comes to parenting them, at the end of the day, the choice is mine. But at the end of the day, the thing is this isn't up for negotiation. This is one of my hard, fast rules. The only time we've had sleepovers is if I was giving birth and I dropped them off at my best friend's house. Now, again, going back to, does this prevent all potential incidents of bullying, SA, or any of those kinds of things that do have a prevalence in sleepovers? No. We have 24 hours in a day, which you're only eliminating 8 hours of risk. Which means you still need to educate your children on how to guard themselves, and let them know safe people, not safe people. Let them know what grooming looks like. You yourself need to know those things so that you can be aware of the people who just seem to be too familiar with your family. You need to teach your kids that no is a complete sentence. You need to make sure that you yourself know that no is a complete sentence. You don't need to justify why you don't do sleepovers. It's as simple as this. Oh, sorry, we don't do sleepovers, but we can definitely do a half sleepover where they can come over and hang out for a while and then I can pick them up later. Or I can come over too and we can hang out while the kids hang out, and then I'll just head home at like 9. That gives you a night out too. And if people are not okay with your boundaries and your rules around your children, that is none of your business. That's their problem, not yours. But if somebody is uncomfortable with your boundaries around your children, that should be a red flag. Because why do you want access to my children so badly? That you have your own. Now, if you evaluate all the things that I said and you still choose to do sleepovers, that's fine. That's on you. I'm not here to tell you how to parent, but I am here to tell you how I do. But for me, I don't see as much of a benefit. Like, I don't feel like you're really missing out on anything. And I know everybody's going to ask what my exceptions are. And my exceptions are, if I'm giving birth, they can stay somewhere else. But otherwise, if they're staying somewhere else, I'm staying with them. And what about grandparents' house, aunt's house, uncle's house, cousin's house, whatever, all the other exceptions? That's up to you. It is easier for me if I say no across the board. It is easier for me because I do not have to justify allowing it at one house and not at another person's house or having any awkward conversations. I just say no. And that's easy for me because I don't really have any family around here to allow that anyway. But if I did, the rule would be the same. And remember, I'm not telling you no sleepovers. I'm telling you why I don't have any sleepovers. Do some research on people who are yes sleepovers and no sleepovers, because there's a lot of mental health experts that are definitely no sleepovers. Look, you can't shield your kids from everything. There are going to be things that happen outside of your control, but for the portion of things that you can control, that's in your hands to make the choices. Balancing the wild cards in your kids' lives while also giving them a robust childhood experience is never easy, but there is a balance for each of us in the way that we parent our own children, and only we know what the right choice for our kids is.